The 90s were truly a golden era for rap. At the beginning of the decade, the genre was reaching its peak. By the end of the decade, it had become a dominant commercial force in pop music. Artists like Ice Cube, Method Man, A Tribe Called Quest, Public Enemy, Busta Rhymes, and De La Soul were influencing youth culture globally. While the rappers of the 90s may not have been as revolutionary as their predecessors from the 80s, they refined the style, updating rap to the format we still see today. Though the decade was marked by controversies, violence, arrests, and rivalries, the 90s represent the peak of the greatest and most influential rap artists the genre has ever seen. Here are the top 5 rappers of the 90s, in a non-definitive list, but highlighting the most prominent of that era. Subscribe to the channel and enable the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Let's go! In 5th place, we have Redman. No other rapper on this list has been as consistent throughout the decade as he has. He managed to transition from the early 90s East Coast underground hip-hop scene to commercial success by the end of the decade seamlessly. His versatile style, which could switch between lyrical depth and humor, was effective due to his unique and energetic flow. Redman was the 90s equivalent of what Ludacris would become for the new millennium, the decade's foremost party rapper, elevating the potential of rappers' delight to new aesthetic heights. His work was fun and creative, ranging from absurd fantasies to laid-back comedies, standing out from the early part of the decade to his later releases, where he showcased an explosive and charismatic presence. In 4th place, we have Lauryn Hill, who is a figure difficult to approach these days. Despite the tough years since the 90s, her importance in that decade remains unshaken. Even in the face of adversities that marked her life, her passion remains evident. For example, she made a point to personally respond and thank everyone who wrote to her during her time in prison, emphasizing the importance of finding purpose and lessons in every situation. However, it's worth reminiscing about the positive moments. Lauryn Hill was truly iconic. Her ability to sing and rap with a raspy, captivating voice stood out in a time when such a mixed style was revolutionary and uncommon. Alongside the Fugees, she paved the way by merging various musical influences into a unique sound and style. Thirdly, Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg, on the other hand, was a true revelation when he started appearing on MTV. His intriguing and multifaceted presence, capable of effortlessly transitioning between gangsta and charming, was something astonishing. Despite his shyness in front of the cameras, he exuded an aura of mystery that many contemporary stars lack. However, just hearing him rap was enough to change everything. His unique style, blending speech and singing in a smooth and seductive manner, challenged the standards of both West Coast and East Coast rap. Snoop was the embodiment of cool, but could also be menacing when needed. Secondly, the Notorious B.I.G. I want people to pick up my latest album and express it clearly. He is exceptional. He is supreme. He is the pioneer. That's what I aim for. I want my recognition, because they underestimated my ability. I observe what people write and say, and I get praise for being the solitary master of ceremonies who dominated the East Coast, but I don't get the credit due for being honest with my microphone peers. As for the art of rhyme, I'm flawless. They don't recognize me that way. I remember reading about Notorious B.I.G. in the Source magazine in 1997, shortly before the release of the album Life After Death, just before the great rapper from Brooklyn was murdered in California, and I remember being impressed by the quote above. The confidence. Biggie had only one album out at that time, Ready to Die, from 1994. It was excellent. It was more than excellent. It was exceptional. But, man, was he really justified in using words like the greatest of all? Seriously, is he comparing himself to Rakim? Never mind. As people would say 15 years from now, then, the new album dropped. It was a double album. An extensive, varied, and incredibly ambitious collection of songs ranging from traditional old-school boom bap, like Kick in the Door, to radio-perfect tracks like M.O. Money M.O. Problems, to elegant and funny rap stories like Got a Story to Tell, to dark and thrilling epics like Niggas Bleed and Long Kiss Goodnight. It took time to assimilate. The process, the right perspective, was made difficult by the terrible and surreal circumstances surrounding this music. Namely, its creator's murder, the second tragedy hip-hop faced in 6 months, and the frenzied rap released thereafter. For a while, no one knew what was up and what was down. We were all in shock, dazed. Over time, however, the emotional wounds began to heal. Only then could we truly appreciate this work the artist left us with sharper eyes and ears. This album was nothing short of a masterpiece. Biggie's development as a rapper, his maturity, his vision, his scope, I'm not sure we've ever seen anything like it before. And considering it alongside the raw, less refined power of Ready to Die, looking at what was now, sadly, knowing this artist's complete body of work, we began to realize that, yes, he was singular, special, supreme. He surpassed all. He was better than anyone had ever been before. First, Tupac. Although Tupac is often considered one of the greatest rappers of all time, this assessment often comes with reservations. In 1999, in a special edition on the 50 Greatest MCs of All Time, Blaze magazine suggested that Pac, ranked 7th, compensated for his average rhyming ability by captivating the world with controversies and sincere themes. In fact, the idea that Tupac was just an ordinary rapper, whose fame was solely due to his charisma and behavior off stage, was an accusation that received considerable attention while he was still alive. In early 1995, just before the release of his acclaimed album, Me Against the World, Teray wrote in The Village Voice that Pac was only a mediocre vocalist and lyricist, even by West Coast standards. Mediocre. It's curious that such a critique is often directed at someone widely recognized as one of the greatest rappers of all time. The New York hip-hop tradition demands that a rapper master a variety of wordplay techniques, such as similes, double entendres, puns, and metaphors, to be considered among the greats. Tupac wasn't interested in being semantically clever. He preferred a more straightforward approach, emphasizing emotion and wisdom over pure lyrical style. This ain't just a rap song, it's a black song / telling all my brothers they need to unite, he rhymed in 1993's Holler If You Hear Me. Essentially, hip-hop is an infinitely inventive postmodern exercise. However, Pac represented an alternative, a straightforward realism that aimed to be heard beyond the confines of New York. Living in Marin City was like being in a small town, so I learned to be more direct with my style, Tupac told Davey D in a 1991 interview. Instead of being so metaphorical with my rhymes, I was encouraged to get straight to the point and be direct, without wasting time trying to disguise things. This formal simplicity allowed his blazing intensity to shine, without enigmatic distractions. The video has come to an end. Subscribe to the channel and leave a comment here on the video. See you soon.